And with that, we have one final round to go in the 2023 United States Disc Golf Championship. Round number 3 is complete, and it's Tournament Central time one more time today. Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins breaking down a very eventful round number 3. Nate, the wind finally presented itself, and that's one of the elements that we were missing the first 2 days, and it adds such a layer of treachery out here at Winthrop. Talk about the conditions and how the wind played a factor.
Yeah, I mean, it is the single biggest factor that determines the scoring average right there. I love that our guys in the production are showing us that, because when the water from the fountain at Winthrop is turning into mist, you know it's going to be tough to shoot under par out there. That's Simon Lizotte throwing a driver 100 feet off the mark. I mean, the wind just got under that and took it. Here's Matty O just slamming it. No way. Haven't seen that shot yet. Hits the rock coming back in, Brian.
There's no room for error on this course to begin with. There's so many shots, just like this second shot here on 13, that can be an absolute nightmare, and Sullivan Tipton bled that one just a bit too far to the right. So many landing-focused shots out here. Here's Bradley Williams on the 14th going big hyzer, trying to challenge the wind.
Well, I'll talk about the wind on 14, Brian, as Bradley gets an unfortunate skip off the sidewalk there. That was a really tricky right-to-left wind. So if you played that big forehand, when it got back on hyzer, the wind just got on top of the plate and just shoved it. So Sully, Joel, Kyle, they all threw the big forehand and just weren't able to swing back in toward the green. Bradley went with the width on the backhand, but of course just got the bad sidewalk skip, and 14 was the biggest moment in the tournament for Joel Freeman. I mean, his forehand was a few feet into the hazard. He has a 42-footer to try and save par, uphill, runnable putt, just an inch low, and it rolls back into the headwind. So he's looking at 25, and then he 3-putts from there, Brian. So that's a 3-shot mistake right there, and if he goes on to not win this tournament, he's going to look back at that hole and wonder what he should have done different.
Well, Kyle Klein is now your leader, who survived the conditions today way better than a lot of the rest of the players in the top 10 trying to creep to the top. Kyle had kind of a flatter finish, but talk about the successes that he had in the round.
Well, the most impressive thing for me about Kyle Klein's round is that he didn't change the game plan at all. I'm talking same disc, same angle of attack, Brian. It almost doesn't make sense when the wind's up that much, but he just believes in his ability to get the disc up to speed and fight the wind. That was a beautiful shot on 6 there, and backs it up here with a beautiful shot on 7. And the thing is, he could feel that the leader, Joel, was slipping. I mean, Joel at that point in the round was 1 over, so Kyle had picked up 3 strokes on him. Then Kyle goes same disc, same angle on 9, just throws it a little bit harder to kind of fight that crosswind, and that's the result right there.
This is just supreme confidence, Nate. When you can step up and know how your discs are going to behave in these wind conditions, that means he's spent a lot of time in the field practicing with these discs, whether it's just paying close attention during a practice round or actually sitting in the field and repping in windy conditions. Being able to play like he was playing today just showcases the confidence in his equipment and his ability to not have to overdo it in the wind. And I think the overcompensation is one of the biggest problems that players have out here. Nate, we have to go down the leaderboard. Bradley Williams has done very solid, tied Kyle Klein today, 4 under par. And this is a player that doesn't necessarily get the disc up to speed compared to the rest of the players charging towards the top, but he's a tactician, and he definitely scored well today, and he's right in the hunt going into the final day.
I mean, he's 3 strokes back. He said it. This is a career moment for him to be on this lead card during the final round. Look at this shot, Brian. This is 11 speed, neutral driver, and that's just pure Bradley Williams form right there. How beautiful. What do you have on that shot?
I mean, normally on 2, you're playing that low bullet, hyzer skip shot, being able to go up the gut, low ceiling. That just shows off the skill. There he is on 6, fantastic. And then he goes up to hole number 11 and throws this beautiful touch shot. Talk about this shape, Nate.
Well, he goes 11 speed off the tee, 450 feet to put himself into position to throw the putter. A lot of people are throwing the backhand and just chancing whether or not they get that roll, but Bradley is going to match the hillside. He could probably throw the forehand, but he likes to play the course how the designer wants you to play it. That's one of his kind of ticks, if you would say. And then a big park job on 12. I mean, that hole was playing so hard into kind of a tail left to right. I felt like that was Bradley's career up and down. He threw it OB early right on 13. He's 500 feet away from the pin, Brian. He goes 425-foot forehand into the wind, and then he jams that putt into a direct headwind, and you could see the emotion right there when it found the chains.
I mean, he's been playing this tournament for many years. I mean, this is his opportunity to go into the final day. He's 3 strokes off at a course where a 3-stroke swing can happen in one hole. And this is not when a player's having a bad day. I mean, even when someone's having the day of their life, a triple bogey can easily happen. Nate, we heard from Bradley Williams after his round, and yes, it was an emotional one. Let's take a listen to what Bradley had to say.
Here now with Bradley Williams. Bradley, what a wild day out there. Walk us through it from your perspective.
I think it was one of those situations where you're sitting there and going, well, do I throw the same disc on the same angle that's been working for me all week? And sometimes with wind, that's what you do. And I found myself having success with that strategy and also wildly failing at the same time. So you start to think, man, maybe I should have compensated. But yeah, I think it was a give and take battle out there. Trust your angles that you did before, and then sometimes you had to improvise.
So are there any big moments where you tried to work the same shot in there and it didn't work out for you? Maybe the tee shot on 13?
Yeah, exactly. 13 was exactly the moment where I was throwing the same kind of understable disc on a lot of Anheuser to try to flex it, and I just got foggy and didn't really think of another play.
Well, you followed it up with what I think is one of your career up and downs. Talk to us about how difficult that approach was and what you were feeling when that putt went dead center.
Yeah, so the sidearm is super difficult. It was a 380-foot dead straight forehand into the wind and with OB to the right and hazard to the left, basically. And I threw a wraith that I like, and I was really calm in that moment, surprisingly. And it was a great shot. And then I had that putt. That's when putting's fun, when they float like that. It's pure bliss.
How do you feel about 3 strokes back of Klein?
Yeah, I mean, that's a career best situation going into the last day of this major tournament. So I feel like it's a progression of my story in disc golf. I've gotten a little bit better every time I play this tournament, and now that I'm 3 off the lead, it's like it's a pretty good accomplishment. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Bradley, can't wait to watch you play tomorrow. See you then.
Thanks, Dan.
Nate, I have to just remark that when he talks about the game of disc golf, it's not just from a golf angle. You can tell that he thinks about this game just as much from the roots of where we came from, which is just the flying disc and throwing it back and forth. I mean, he truly loves playing this game, all elements of it. He said it's pure bliss out there. Nate, what do you have to make of that?
Well, I mean, that's just beautiful. You're a poet, Brian, truly. And Bradley, he just seems so collected in that interview, so calm, settled into himself. And he has more experience than anyone out there. 3 strokes behind Kyle Klein is a lot. But like you said, at any moment, if Kyle falters, Bradley's going to be right there. He doesn't seem like he's capable of making the big mistake. I feel like he's kind of leaning more on the side of caution, and the angle control is going to take him a long way tomorrow.
Well, he's going to be able to kind of let Kyle make decisions and hopefully make that one mistake where he can pounce. Another player we got to talk about, Tipton. Sullivan Tipton has shot himself into a 3rd place position going into the final day of a major. What a moment for Sullivan. I mean, he's been putting on a show all week. Even par was enough to keep him in a tie for 3rd. What do you make of the performance today, Nate?
Well, right here, this was a big statement. I mean, the wind was really gusting for this putt on hole 1, and as you said, got the putt just bored flat. Kyle missed it because he got Heiser, blew it away, left side chains, but Sully able to get that putter flat, which is so important when it's gusting up like that, and then takes that same disc, skips up, gives us a little scare there, Brian. Look at this putt on hole 9, though.
He was 100% from Circle 1X in these conditions, and on this course, when you're putting like this, I mean, like Bradley Williams said, it's pure bliss. That is gorgeous.
That one almost went out the back, Brian, and I want to talk about the tee shot that got him there, because the wind had completely shifted from yesterday. It was up maybe 18 miles per hour when he threw. It seemed like the forehand was not the play, and he took the same disc and he fed it in there on the same line, flat, and just played it out to the right instead of trying to park it. So for me, Sully forced a few too many times the same disc that he did yesterday when the wind was down. It cost him, but there were a few moments where it was just so impressive what he was able to do with the control late in the flight on those forehands.
Well, and you saw the late finish, not too good. Grabbed a few bogeys on that back stretch, which happens out here. You mentioned that the wind was more like 0 to 20 miles an hour. It was calm one moment, it was up to 20, 25 at another moment, and those are the toughest days to play disc golf. The other thing about Winthrop is you can't just read the wind on a particular hole and then say, oh, on the next hole it's going to blow this way. You have to individually read the wind. There's so many weird components and buildings that block the wind and make you be extremely intentional when you read the wind out here. Nate, we have to talk about the next player on the lead card. Can you talk about what we saw from him and kind of what you noticed out there?
Yeah, I mean, Joel Freeman really struggled early. Like we mentioned yesterday, Brian, sometimes the flow of the round just isn't going your way. He seemed to be on the wrong side of the basket too many times where he had those tough tester putts. He leaked OB on hole 2 and had a tough putt back at the OB. Bogeyed that one, and then his 9-speed comes up short. He was shocked to find out that it didn't even make it to the sand there, but then he connects on 6, but he was 2 over on that front 9. It wasn't until this moment in the round where he actually woke up, goes with the 12 speed, gives himself the 45-footer. This is for eagle, Brian. Up into the tailwind, read that one perfectly. The way that he raised his arms right there in relief, you could tell that he was just waiting for something to go his way.
Grabs the eagle on 10, pars 11, birdies on 12 and 13, a solid stretch, and then Nate, hole number 14, just a disaster. I mean, and then that kind of deflated him for the rest of the day. You saw the body language change. You saw the self-talk start to change. Days like this are exhausting out here on the course.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what King Climo has been calling the pitfalls, and everyone's bound to fall into one. Again, it was just a weird moment. I think if he was a little further away, he would just pitch that one up on 14, but because it was a 40-footer, because he was putting uphill and it seemed like it was safe, he went for it just an inch short, and it just rolls directly backwards, and so he's left with that headwind. Those are the kind of things where it feels like it's just unlucky. Like he could have hit and sat and not lost the stroke to Kyle at all. Instead, he takes the triple bogey, loses 2, and he was in his head on the tee pad of 15. He never really collected himself. You know, he was talking to his wife Alyssa. He was out of sorts, and then he nearly missed the Mando there. Throws a weird forehand roller that doesn't go anywhere, puts himself in a bad position. He needed to collect himself, and you could tell that he was rattled for the first time this tournament.
Well, he went from the lead to a tie for third place, still on the lead card going into the final day. He was gracious enough to give us an interview after this frustrating day. Let's hear what he had to say from his perspective.
Here now with Joel Freeman. Joel, the flow just wasn't going your way today. It seemed like you were putting a lot of really uncomfortable spots on that front 9. Talk about how difficult it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing in the wind, there's always some guesswork, and I just made some bad guesses. And the putting stroke just wasn't there today, so it makes it hard to score.
Well, I hate to do it, but I have to ask you about the triple bogey on 14. I mean, all 4 of you found the hazard. What was going through your mind when you're looking at that putt, like a headwind left to right there on the elevated pin?
Yeah, uphill, runnable. Even if you kind of miss the basket, the wind's going to kind of slow you down and check you up or whatever. And yeah, I almost did my job. It was a centimeter low, and so I was hoping for that headwind to just kind of sustain that climb. It just didn't quite happen. Ended up being a 3-stroke mistake there. So, yeah, it's the game of disc golf.
Well, one more round to go. Are you still in this tournament, Joel?
Oh, of course. I mean, what am I, 5, 6 back or something like that? That's nothing. That's 3 holes. So,
all right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for the interview.
Yep.
Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, guys.
certainly correct in that he is absolutely not out of this tournament. Joel Freeman looking to make a charge tomorrow. We're going to take a quick commercial break. On the other side, we're talking Simon Lizotte. We'll see him on the chase card tomorrow. We'll see you soon.
One thing we all love about disc golf is it's a lifetime sport. Whether you play pro, am, juniors, or senior grandmasters, we all want to play this sport as much as we want and for as long as we want. This can introduce wear over time, potentially hindering your ability to continue playing. A cart reduces the cumulative stress on your body that comes with repetitive motions such as reaching down and lifting. This will help keep you on the course, maximizing your athletic potential and playing your best.
Watch the USDGC and more live upcoming pro disc golf events on the Disc Golf Network. Use code USDGCTC, all one word, at checkout for 20% off your first month subscription. Scan the QR code or hit the link in the description below to subscribe today and wrap up the 2023 disc golf season as we know it. But before then, we have to talk about a couple more players gunning for the top spot going into the final day tomorrow, Simon Lizotte being one of them. 2 under par effort, Nate. Solid. He was 91% from circle 1. Pretty good in this wind. What is he going to have to do tomorrow, though, to catch up to the lead?
It's going to have to be scorching hot. I think the wind is going to be similar tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be down on the average, but it's still going to have those extreme gusts upwards to 20 miles per hour. So I think that Kyle still has the potential to shoot 5 to 10 under par. So Simon, what is he? He's 6 back of the lead. He's going to have to be hot early, and that's difficult to do out here. Of course, we saw the blunder on Simon's approach on hole 5 that didn't cross the island, but the next shot that he took I want to talk about, because it was a situation where there was one of those gusts. So he went to throw, it was pretty calm, and he was going to attack the pin. He releases his disc and then it just completely rolls over. He almost finds the OB again. If he would have waited 10 more seconds, he would have felt that wind and probably changed up his angle or potentially gone back and changed the disc. So one of those things that just, it didn't seem like it was his moment right there, but he did rally, followed up with the birdie on hole 6, and then this touch shot on 17, Brian. This is so high level. Talk about it.
This is like my favorite shot in the tournament. He's done this 3 times, Nate. Look at this shot.
Is that glitch?
It's absolutely gorgeous. Just stable putter. I'm not sure if it's the glitch. I'm not sure if it's the 1 speed. It might be just a hair faster, but still just showing off the experience here, Nate. I mean, he has such incredible versatility with the backhand. His forehand is good enough, but he's been leaning on the backhand in years past. I think he has what it takes to play in these conditions tomorrow and pop off that 10, 11, 12 under par. He's one of those players that doesn't care about changing the disc in his hand too much. He loves to manipulate the angle, and that can only suit him well out here with how unpredictable things are. It takes a lot of trust. We also have to talk about Evan Smith, though. Evan Smith shot a 5 under par, battled his way up to a tie for 5th place with Simon Lizotte. We haven't seen too much from Evan Smith this year, but I love this dude and his game and the way he approaches disc golf. He's young, just graduated college, but he's got this wonderful, just clean technical backhand. He's from Raleigh, North Carolina, so he's playing a lot of really long, challenging woods golf, and now he's been out here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour all year. I love watching him play, Nate.
Yeah, I know that you've commented on his demeanor before, and it's interesting that he's playing with Nicholas Antila because that's who I compare him with directly as far as there's almost no momentum in Evan's swing. Mm-hmm. He is all upper body. He rotates that torso so far back and has so much lag. That's a good look at it right there. Ooh. Do you see where the left arm went, Brian? Completely around his body as he opens up that left shoulder and reaches back.
He's one of those players that will tell you exactly what angle he's throwing before he even throws it. His body positioning is just very simple. He's very balanced when he throws. It's similar to like a Bradley Williams type character. He's not really making you guess at all. He's showing everybody what he's doing before he does it because he's in a great position. So that's only going to bode well for him if he can continue to tap into that release point. He's just going to have to make some really tactical decisions tomorrow on the top stage. I mean, he's on the chase card with an opportunity to take down a victory. Like Joel Freeman said, it's only a couple holes of blunders to have the leader drop off the face of the planet. With that said, we are wrapping things up for Tournament Central. We have the final round action tomorrow. We're going to leave you with an interview from the man who shot the hot round and shot way up the leaderboard, the man himself, Ricky Wysocki.
It's moving day. Ricky Wysocki has done just that. A 10-under effort today. Rick, you came in with a pair of 2-unders. Today, you put down a 10, but how did it feel?
Yeah, it felt a lot better result-wise. I mean, I was throwing good shots the first 2 days, just, Winthrop sometimes just, shows its teeth, and I wasn't able to score. I was throwing good shots, just wasn't able to score, but that's kind of the name of the game out here. Just staying alive and just coming back the next day, like you said, moving day, knowing that there's always a chance to pop off and play well here. So just try not to get too far down on myself on some bad breaks, but it's going to happen out here.
And it looks like it was evenly distributed. You played pretty well in the front and pretty well on the back, but kicking it off with the eagle on 10. Only mistake was 17 today. Your caddy tells me you've struggled a little there. Do you have it all dialed in for Championship Sunday, hole 17?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm like 6-7 over on that hole, so I've given away a lot of strokes. It was pretty windy, and I threw a good shot, just got smashed right into the hay bales. But I mean, that's why that hole is it's such a good short par 3. The distance isn't what's tough. It's just all the variables, the hay bales, the water, and as a player, gotta love it. It challenges you mentally so much, and it's something. Yeah, I look forward to the challenge every time we step up to that hole. So I love hole 17, even though I play it well.
That says a lot about the course design and what it means to you mentally. Last question: as you head into Championship Sunday, you're going to be going after a major victory here. What would it mean for you to take down the USDGC? Something that's eluded you.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as everyone watching sees what can happen out here, your momentum can shift real quick for the good or for the worse. And so you just got to be able to handle the ups and downs out here. And, yeah, like I said, I shot a great round today. I'm just thankful that I was able to do that and give myself in some sort of position. Who knows how it's going to play out with this wind or anything like that. But I'm excited for the opportunity tomorrow to hopefully turn in another double-digit round.
All right, that's Ricky Wysocki. Momentum in his favor. We'll see you on Championship Sunday.
Thanks, Terry.
When I walk up to a shot, I'm looking for the target. I'm looking at obstacles around the target, specific landing zones, looking at the height. Knowing all of that, I'm able to shape a shot. I don't want to think, did I get the right shot? Did I get the right distance? Like, that's it, I got it. Confidence is everything, and the Edge Disc Golf Rangefinder gives me exactly that.
I want to be known for winning a lot of tournaments. Hopefully I get to a point where I can be dominant in an era with so many people coming up in the game. So hard to stay consistent at the top. That's kind of my goal, is to set the new standard for this generation.
Get ready for an electrifying fusion of disc golf and art. Disc Golf Strokes, a Uplay fundraiser that will creatively blow your mind, featuring some of the biggest names in professional disc golf. Each 6-foot canvas is up for auction along with the artist's smocks, disc brushes, and other exclusive disc golf items. Every dollar helps fund Uplay's educational events, and we're currently raising money for our trip to Uganda and Kenya, Africa this October. Disc Golf Strokes, where the thrill of the game meets the power of art to benefit the world.